at Scalp Logic, and we've got Ricky here wanting to talk a little bit about his treatment and possibly answer some questions that you guys may be having. He is coming from New York. Well, not exactly New York. Upstate New York. And it's kind of a bit of a journey for him to get here and to go through this whole thing. I don't think you were excited to have to jump on a plane to come to Texas.
No, not really. Obviously, it's an adventure. I could have chosen places in New York, and believe me, I did. I've looked in New York. I've looked for places nearby. But then, honestly, it was during the pandemic. Just I got a hold of your channel, and
Wait, you've been watching us since 2020?
I think so, yeah. It took me a while. It took me a while to actually make that phone call because I feel like I was just back and forth. If I really wanted to do this, I was fine with my shaving my head. I've been shaving my head for years.
Yes.
But then when I saw that there was a technique that literally could, and using Joe's words, give you back your frame, which I'm almost there. I looked at you a bit more, and then learning from your technique, layman, I don't know how this works or what was going on, or I'm thinking tattoo head, anything like that.
Yes.
So I'm seeing these big companies around the world, actually, New York being nearby, and why would I not just try that out? And I looked into it, but honestly, then when I spoke to you and I looked at your website, and literally when I came down here my first time and I grabbed Joe's head and looked at his head, that is literally, for me, that's what it had to do for me to say, yep, let's do. I was going to do it anyway, but I could've
You needed that
walked away.
extra little push right there.
Right, because I could have
Of
said,
course.
this is, no, it's not but it was more than I expected when I saw his head, because I couldn't believe. So now that I've had 3 done, and I think I need 4 and see what anybody else thinks, but I feel like there's, when the dust settles, I feel like, whatever's gonna stay, stays. It's a subtle procedure that you do. That's why it's different than regular pigmentation that they do elsewhere. So it's a longer process. I guess everyone is different in what's going to stay and how you take care of your scalp, which I've been doing, but.
You've been doing fantastic.
Yeah, coming from the Northeast, it's a little more difficult. And I do have normally dry skin, so I've been playing with that and drinking as much as possible water.
I know, you please specify that, right?
So, but yeah, it's been working out great. I've been taking your recommendations, and everybody that I tell, because I do tell people, it's some people like to keep it private, and that's perfectly fine. But I'm very proud of it and proud of your work, to be seriously honest about it.
Thank
because
you.
I just don't believe that I didn't believe that there was a procedure that can give this look back. And I was going back here, and the spot was, what do they call that on the scale, but anyway.
Probably like a Norwood 4 or 5.
4 or
I would
5,
put you at something
I
like
was,
that.
or M, technically under the magic that you guys did.
Yes, sir.
But everyone doesn't believe that it's ink, basically.
And that's so refreshing, because generally most of our clients, and privacy is key with what we do. We've got guys that are like, they don't even tell their wives they're getting this done. It's just wild. It still blows my mind. But the fact that you're wanting to share and that you feel comfortable, like, we really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And it's cool that you can get that organic response from people. Because it's like, sometimes we'll see people in Houston and you can tell from across the room that they had some work done.
Right.
And it's not like you can pass it off like, oh, you didn't have anything done, huh? It's like, but with you get that fresh response where they're like, wait, what?
Right.
And they're always trying to look at it and kind of come up close.
So I was literally at a friend's house that I hadn't been at in a long time, and it was nice. We're doing ping pong, and they come up to me. I'm sitting in, there's lights in the garage, so I'm sitting down. I just shaved my head, and they come up to me, or at least one of them comes up to me and goes, so I thought you actually were losing your hair. She goes, you basically have a full head of hair. You don't grow it.
The best.
And I was like, I had a little tiny tear. I'm like,
Yes!
seriously, that's exactly what I'm going for. Let me tell you what I did. So it was and that was just a few weeks ago. And I swear to God, it happens all the time. So
That's the best to hear that.
See, that's what guys need to understand.
Yeah.
That's what 95% of our clients say is their experience. We just had a gentleman the other day, 2 years, and that was the same experience. So much more private than you, and thank you so much for being open because we get a lot of guys that
Wait, are we live?
we are live.
So actually,
Oh my gosh, I love it. It's like, wait, what?
this is private.
Just in the bald forms, though. This is what we'll never see. Yeah, just the bald guys. Just bald guys out
Oh my
there.
gosh.
It's
I was like,
restricted.
wait, he knew. I was like, it was like a second where I was like, I did not have that much coffee. Thank you for that.
No problem, taking this off.
Keeping us on our toes. Okay, so do you want to go get everything set up and then
Sure.
we'll show you guys working on the last session?
Okay, sounds great.
for it.
Sounds good.
And then any other questions? I'm thinking that like people have, and we've already spoken about like the fear, you know, of getting this done and knowing that it's a real deal and then you seeing it in person. But when you saw Joe's treatment, was there a part of you that was like, if I get there and it just doesn't look natural, I'm out, I'm gone?
Yeah, I did think that because, you know, it is a permanent thing
Yes,
for the most
yes.
part. Obviously, you might have a touch-up in maybe 10 years or something like that.
It's not a haircut.
Depending- right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could have totally walked away and just, you know, lost the money on what I did up to that point. But no, this is a great investment. I'm very happy that I did it. I'm one of those folks that was, you know, oh man, this is so permanent. Like if I do this, it's gonna look fake. It's gonna look, I am that person to tell you, seriously, it does not look fake. They do the technique so magically, I guess is the best way to say it. It is like Hollywood magic is the way I describe it. Like you could have Vin Diesel or Joe Rogan or somebody just have it done and you would not know. And it just depends if somebody likes to shave their head, you know, and have that crown or the receding hairline. That's
Absolutely.
fine too. But just I think there's a lot of folks that don't realize that this procedure is there and that if you want that frame back, that it could actually come back, and it's just it's in a subtle way, but just enough where you get that look and someone's like, you've got hair, you don't want to grow it.
I love it. So we've got a couple questions.
Yeah.
What do you do daily to take care of it?
So I actually use this I use this Greek, and I can't think of what the
Greek remedy.
Greek remedy. I
Yes.
use Greek remedy in my head. So what I do is I shave my head in the morning. I use an organic shampoo. I might change to an organic shampoo condition type
Nicole approved.
Nicole approved.
Very important.
But because you know, in the Northeast where I live and I go out, I don't want it to be cracked and dried. I'm really trying to take care of it. And I put it on every morning. I do my little frame with it around the top of the head. I actually shave the sides of my head with a razor.
Mm-hmm.
And I give myself a little line, and then I use one of the, I can't remember the name brand, but it's a heavy brick foil shaver. And I'll just do that because I'm trying to take care of the work. Even though I keep on going here and here, they did the whole top to blend everything in. So a lot of this that you see is, and probably back here needs to get done too a little bit as well. But it's all blended in. But I use that Greek remedy on my head. It's actually not as greasy as you would think. And I go to work every day in an office setting, and it looks wonderful. But when I come home at night, sometimes I'll even put, because I'm a little freaky about it, I put Aquaphor on it at night, just to keep it moist during the wintertime.
Yes,
That's
yes. Weather's crazy these days, so that makes sense.
Yeah, and even in the fall when I had my second, third session, I would still, you know, I was never a sun person, so I literally just, you know, I would wear a hat or I just stay out of the sun. Not that I'm going to avoid it, not that I'm going to not do things. So
of course, the whole thing is to live and
Yeah.
to actually
Oh,
go
yeah.
enjoy it.
But I'm not going to be out there, you know, out there in the sun, you know, 8 hours a day.
Thank you for that.
So, definitely not. Try to take care of my skin.
Hi, Drew Fit. We are fantastic, and Serge said that looks insanely good. Well, thank you very much. So we're gonna get started. We're gonna take you to the room back with us. Do you wanna go ahead and go, and then we'll follow you? All right. So let's come on this way. We're gonna follow the leader. We're following. Sorry. All right, if you want to just go ahead and lay down and get nice and comfortable. so he has had 4 sessions altogether. Well, I'm sorry, 3 sessions. Today's number 4. The first 2 sessions he was with me, and then the last 2 sessions he got to get Joe.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah. There we go. Look at that, you guys. Look at how beautiful that looks. This is art. Do not let anybody tell you anything differently.
Actually, I hear the angels singing right now, so it's a
Kind of
religious
fitting.
experience.
I like it.
It really is.
And then if you guys have any other questions, please ask him.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer anything.
How about the comfort? Before anybody asks that, how does the needle feel to you? Is it minor? Is it a little excruciating? Is it pleasant?
I mean, to me, I actually look forward to it.
Okay. Yep.
So
Same.
it just, to me, it seems like, I don't know, like a sewing machine going into butter. Like, for
Oh,
me, that's my experience. That's how I can describe it. I don't have there's no pain to it. Maybe, when it's done, it's a little red and irritated, but it's been worked on. But during the process, it's comforting. It's comfortable to me, so.
minus the straps that we're not showing on live.
Right, we're not going to show that.
Oh, sorry.
All right, and let's talk about the skin again, because I know we did have some pretty significant dry skin
Yes,
situations
we
kind of
really
touched on.
did.
As I
Uh-huh.
wipe right now, we'll have just a little bit, but nothing we can't work through. But what was your experience like that? I think it was at the first or the first 2 sessions where we had
Yes.
a good amount of dry skin.
We had a lot of dry skin and not a lot of water intake, which really makes a difference when we're working with the skin. And so you can see that there is a little bit of dryness there.
Which, like we said, in harsh cold weather, probably a lot of people experiencing this
Exactly.
in this season. So.
Mhm.
I don't even work, like you're doing it for the procedure, but I don't even go that hard on my head because I'm just trying to be so careful. And maybe I should, give it a good clean now and then, but.
Well, you can exfoliate, but definitely not for a while after
Right.
the treatment.
Lift up. Thank you so much. Cool. Beautiful.
Oh, that's better.
A-OK said, how long does it usually take for the dots to fade into a general shading? The individual dots don't stick around for years, do they?
Well, there's a lot of layers to that question. I would first argue and say that a guy who doesn't have any hair loss that shaves his head down like we're shaving it absolutely has some kind of shadow effect. But as far as the impressions, I don't care what artist you go to, it's all about the skin that we were just talking on. So this is all in the same realm of the topic of skin condition. And absolutely the impressions will last years on guys. We have a lot of guys proving that. So it's all about the skin condition.
Does dry skin fade the treatment drastically if you don't moisturize it? It's not about fading it. It's more about being able to lay the impressions correctly. And so what most people will do universally is if there's dry skin, it doesn't bother them because they're just going to go deeper, but that's not going to look good long term. So the best thing that you can do is get rid of that dryness before the treatment. And we've really come a long way with his skin. The first 2 sessions, we had a lot more, I would say like a little bit of hiccups. And that was actually addressing it before he came. That's why we work with each and every client prior to them coming to getting their skin prepped and ready.
Right. So important.
Do we need to draw anything today, or you just go by what you see?
We can most certainly draw something, but right now I think we'll just bring to life
What's there.
What's already there.
Gotcha.
But that's the answer lies in what's your preference? Did you want to add to it? A
No,
little bit, or
I didn't know what you.
Oh no, I could absolutely see everything there.
Perfect.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. But we'll keep that conversation going throughout the day.
And you guys, this is why subtle pigmentation is, in our estimation, the only way to do this is because it's got to look natural. long term, 5 years from now, 3 years from now, if it does not look like the side, then we're doing something wrong. Do you see that? So right there, that is his native hair. I don't want to touch it. That is his native hair. There you go, right there.
Absolutely. And again, you almost have that shadow effect. And back to that question, people that aren't doing the soft and subtle S&P, I challenge if they're showing you healed results, but you're most assuredly going to have blotchy, inky, and puddles of ink right underneath the skin. So
Correct.
again, all signs point to subtle, soft scalp micropigmentation in our opinions.
Mine too.
Right. So does life feel any different for you? Because that, to me, is the best part of having this done is months after, when you just feel like you have, like it's your hairline, it's your nose, it's your ear. It doesn't feel like I have a treatment or an addition to myself, right? It becomes one with me. Can you talk about that a little bit? How do you feel in those terms? Do you feel like a different person when you look in the mirror?
Yeah, I do.
Or where's your
Because
experience?
I can still see, even though I'm here for extra that's needed, I can still see the frame. I can still see what's built.
Yes.
And that's what I see every morning, and I still see again, you did a lot of work up here too, so I can see the fullness of it, and I can see, and every time I look at it, I can see like the potential of what I'm about to get now, like I think the final touch.
Okay.
So it's always been exciting to me to know that this was a possibility, that I did it, that I actually went through with it. Because it was, jumping off a cliff at first. I think,
Of course.
like a lot of guys, it
Yeah.
was like, do I really want to do this?
Such a bold move. Yeah.
And yeah, it's
And it's always scary because it's like, I think a lot of people think, what if I'm just that one person that it's just not going to look right on, or it's something's going to happen? And what if that's just like my luck almost, right? And there's almost like that fear. What if it just doesn't take for me?
I've just seen people with, the full crown or the receded hairline like mine, and having this work done. It can be done, and it looks amazing. So
Having that frame to your face back has to be a great feeling.
it's just that little bit. That's all it is. It's a slight frame, just enough to get that comment like, "Hey, you see that hair? Well, let me talk to you about that." And I'm happy to.
Do you use a single needle on the entire head, or do you ever switch to a 3 needle? It's going to depend on the actual person, and what it is, how their skin takes it, that it's going to determine that. So it really just depends. There's not like a blanket answer. It's, as an artist, when I'm working on a client, I'm like, okay, nope, I know what he's looking for. I know how fine his hair is. I'm going to go with the single. Or, oh, you know what? He's looking for maybe a little bit more, as well as his skin is very thick in this area. I'm going to use a 3.
But it's worth noting, technology has caught up a bit in this industry, and there are most definitely 3 needles that make the same size impression as these single needles. So I think a lot of people misunderstand that topic. But I hope you would agree the most important part is the impressions are the same size. If you look at the real hair follicles, are the impressions the same exact size, not close to it. I wouldn't want this done if we could only get close to it at this point, right? It has to be the same exact size.
And we hope it can translate. This is why we do YouTube Live, to be able to show each and every impression. And it's the transparency is all there.
Yeah, and again, on the needle topic, it's not just the size of the needle, it's how deep I go. The deeper I go, the larger the impression is going to be. So a lot of that is in the hand of the artist.
So satisfying. I feel like it's like one of those Dr. Pimple Poppers.
Absolutely.
It actually feels good. It's like a little massage.
For your scalp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very rare when we get clients that are like, oh, this hurts. Most guys actually fall asleep. And there might be certain regions where it's like, oh, I feel it a little bit more, but nothing where it's painful.
Can I ask you, Ricky, when you did some research and you looked at probably a lot of companies for a couple of years.
Yes.
You saw our videos on YouTube. When you met us in person and you saw my head, Nicole's work, did it translate on the YouTube videos? Did it look different, worse, or better? I mean, be honest.
Well, it looked exactly like I expected it to.
Okay.
Like I was hoping for.
Okay.
So when I saw it in person, to me, I guess, I mean, it just looked flawless. It just looked like a full head of hair. And that's when I said, I'm so glad I'm here. I'm so glad that this is going to go through, and I want what Joe has. But yeah, it looks like, if you think Joe looks great on the videos with his hairline and everything, it looks even better in person.
Oh.
100%.
We've got some questions. Do you ever use numbing cream ahead of time? We don't really feel the need to. It's not something that we absolutely need to. We've never really had many clients that are like, we have to, can you please do it? I can't take this. And I'm not a fan of what it does with the skin. The next question is, how come nobody does this type of work at the SMP industry? Well, this takes a lot longer the way that we do it.
Fantastic question.
It takes, I would say, triple the time. On average, like this is going to take us anywhere between 4.5 to maybe 5.5 hours today. Okay, so it's going to take quite some time. And this, everybody's different. Sometimes it's 6.5 hours, and that may be like, wow, what the heck? That's so long. But this is art, you guys. There's blending. There's so much that goes into this. It's not just like boom, 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 boom. Cover the area as quickly as you possibly can. So to answer the question, I think it just takes a lot longer. And we see Joe and I both work on one person each a day versus seeing, 3 to 4 people in a day. I think you put safe to assume that derma rolling would ruin the impressions.
Not necessarily.
Depends when you're doing it. It's gonna be depending when you're actually doing it and how deep you're going. I'm not a fan of derma rolling for home. The problem is they're a lot of times harming the skin instead of doing good because of the fact that they're going way too deep. It's supposed to be a treatment that is going to help you grow hair by allowing your serums to penetrate deeper. But a lot of people are like really trying to make themselves bleed. That's not what we're going for. So use with caution.
Just to elaborate on a previous question, why other people don't do this subtle form, or essentially I'll say, why don't they take the time to make impressions the exact same size of the hair follicles? If you see what I'm doing, I've been watching people going live, and in my opinion, again, with all due respect, they're almost blindly just jabbing someone's head. And if you can see me here, I'm making an impression and I'm almost feeding more ink in, because that sweet spot, that window, it's like the thickness of a dime, and it's different for everybody, of going too deep and then having one deep enough that it stays substantially, right? The downside to subtle P is, as you can tell, there's going to be some light spots because we never want to overdo it at all cost. And again, like Nicole said, it takes a lot of time, a lot of patience, a lot of attention, and just a lot of labor. But hopefully that helps answer that question a little more thoroughly. And work over here or here, does it matter for the camera angle?
No, you're good.
Okay. Can I turn just a little bit, Ricky? Just a little. Yeah,
Just gonna go just another minute or two,
Yeah,
just kind of answer some more questions if anybody has any questions.
Perfect.
How on earth do you prevent hand arthritis down the road? We stretch a lot. We red light therapy, we Wim Hof it, cold showers, all kinds of things. And again, we only work on one person a day to make sure we're giving that person our all. And that's really what it's going to take to give the best ultimate treatment. So it's a lot of healing remedies. Eat healthy.
Also, while we're looking, the feathering of a hairline, I think the whole industry, we could do better about feathering the hairline, and that's a very common question. And with the visual, we can see here, that's what we do in each session. We kind of add to the feathering with each session. And so you're not going to get the ultimate feathering on the first session necessarily, but that comes in time throughout the process. So very important. Hopefully you guys can kind of see that being showcased right here.
Does the sauna impact the treatment in any way?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. But
Yeah.
you don't want to be, see, once this is fully healed, then it's, it's yours. But obviously you want to take some precautions. You don't want to be out in the sun for 8 to 10 hours a day. You just kind of want to be careful and a little bit more cautious, especially during the healing process. All right, guys. Well, thank you. Somebody put it looks absolutely great. Thank you for that. If you have any other questions, comments, you guys can always comment on our videos. And thank you guys for tuning in today.